in life on the screens. Sherry Turkle describes how the Macintosh interface shifted our relationship with computers from a world of mechanical logic to one of surfaces and appearances. No longer were we to analyze and reduce systems into parts. We simply interacted with them at face value. The machine became more lifelike, less predictable in its behavior, but more trustworthy in its design. This was the beginning of an interface that didn't just respond to commands. It simulated intentionality. Nostalgia is now less about remembering and more about generating trust. By fabricating the look and feel of memory, platforms simulate authenticity to lull users into emotional intimacy. You don't just use an app, you relive experiences through it. This design language isn't incidental, it's engineered. It sells not content, but trust. Repackaged as history, so we might believe in its permanence.
The year 1958 marked a pivotal shift in American identity. Post-Sputnik urgency reshaped education, Cold War tensions fueled cultural conservatism, and the civil rights movement began.
Instagram's film filters don't just make photos look old, they make memories feel familiar. Think about it, a warm vignette, grainy edges, and faded highlights do more than mimic film stock. They tap into Roland Barthes' studium, the collective emotional texture we associate with an image. But here's where it gets tricky. The actual shock of recognition, the punctum, that personal detail that pierces us, that still has to come from you. Now imagine AI doing the same thing, but on a personal level. Handwriting generators mimic dead relatives. Voice cloning recreates lost speeches. Deepfakes build entire fabricated histories around you. The past is no longer memory. It's content to be produced, consumed, and shared for likes. It becomes both archive and advertisement.
Today on Forbes, the next AI arms race is about fortifying data centers. The AI boom created a colossal market for compute, GPUs, networking gear, and the massive data centers that run it all. It also bolstered a second, less celebrated market, protecting those facilities and the crown jewel chips inside from threats. On top of rising anti-data center sentiment stateside,
We have a new human being, and that's Chris Potter of Memetics Corporation, a new synthesizer, the Yamaha DX100, and a new computer, the Commodore Amiga.
Neil Postman warned us about technopoly, a society where technology doesn't just evolve, it replaces all other forms of knowledge and truth. In this world, nostalgia is not sentimentality, it's strategy. Platforms resurrect the past not to honor it, but to dilute our resistance to change. They make new control systems feel familiar by wrapping them in the warm glow of memory. A retro interface a vintage filter, a grainy font. These aren't just design choices. They are tools for soft authoritarianism. Generated text that mimics handwriting or speech doesn't just feel human, it feels trustworthy. That's the real goal. When nostalgia is built into the very language of code and interface, we don't question it. We trust it because it feels like it has been around for a long time. But who decides what feels right? The past isn't being remembered. It's being re-engineered to fit new systems of control. What this does is quiet dissent by making the present feel inevitable and the future feel nostalgic.
Modern packaging does more than wrap and hold and conceal. Stunning in color, ingenious in design.
There's something uncanny about the way modern design borrows from the past. It doesn't just pay homage, it weaponizes longing. You open an app and it feels like a Polaroid, or you get coffee that looks retro but tastes industrial. The problem is when everything appears to come from some perfected version of yesterday. We stop questioning what's real and what's fabricated. We begin to trust our feelings over facts, mistaking curation for authenticity. In his meditation on photographies, Roland Barthes wrote about a kind of irreducible truth, the photograph as something that could not be repeated. It was evidence of what had been there. But when even this is digitized and algorithmically simulated, we're left with an illusion of unrepeatable moments. Mass produced for emotional consumption. What do we call it when the past has no teeth? Nostalgia, as product design, suggests a world where even our most intimate feelings are optimized, sold back to us with a warm glow and a button. Fathers warned that when memory is no longer tied to time, but instead to mood, we lose the ability to project into the future. If everything feels like it was always meant to be, then what space remains for invention? What room is left for surprise?